Other interesting political news, you have Ron DeSantis GOP Debate top 3 highlights, but no video. Yeah. Let me know in the comments if you have a suggestion for production software. Greatly appreciate your feedback because I know that's something that people want to see. And I'm currently trying to find one that works perfectly with the camera that I'm using. Still having some issues, unfortunately. Now, this is from DeSantis himself. Got about 500,000 views and about 5,500 likes. Not too bad. And his text before the video says, quote, Donald Trump said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing. In Florida, I showed how it's done a year ago. Here, we won a historic victory, including massive landslide here in Miami-Dade County.
Now, this country is in trouble, and the elites that have put us here, they don't care about you. They don't care that you're having to grapple with higher grocery prices or have higher gas prices. They don't care that your family's less secure because of the open border that's allowed drugs and even terrorists to come into this country. Well, I care. I am not going to sit idly by and let this country continue its downward spiral. We need leadership, and we need it now. I'll take the hits, I'll take the arrows, I'll take the slings, because ultimately it's not about me. It's about you. I will fight for you. I will make sure to lead this country's revival, and I will win for you and your family. Actions speak louder than words. We don't have time for excuses, and it's not something that we're going to be able to have all these distractions. As a veteran, I will get the job done. Now, if you look where we are now, it's a lot different than where we were in 2016. And Donald Trump's a lot different guy than he was in 2016. He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing. In Florida, I showed how it's done. 1 year ago here, we won a historic victory, including a massive landslide right here in Miami-Dade County. That's how we have to do it. So I promise you this, as the nominee, next November, I'll get the job done, and as president, I will deliver.
Your time is up. Let me turn to Ambassador.
Interesting points. The audience certainly appeared to like it. And interesting enough, he's used that line before of taking the arrows for you. I mean, it's kind of a cliche politician thing to say. I think it does convey some value. I think some people like that message. And again, this is what DeSantis really needs to do, is keep hammering away on his track record, because he did win in a landslide for his reelection. That is partially because so many people moved to Florida, and then that's a debate in and of itself. Is that because of the laws and original ideas that DeSantis had, or is it because he signed off on the things that the government proposed to him and he just signed off, gave a stamp on it? So that's a debate in and of itself, but people did move because of his influence. I believe you could argue that greatly. Now let's go to the comments section. The first one is from B4R. It says, quote, bro, it's not your time. Stop dividing the party. Support Trump, then come in after. Getting 162 likes. Someone named Wild Bill NC says, what a clown and complete waste of time. Unquote, getting 126 likes. EW says, quote, no one's watching you lie about everything. Sarah Sanders just gave an incredible endorsement speech for President Trump in front of a cheering crowd of thousands. Hurts, doesn't it? You're wasting time and money to get nowhere. You're the biggest loser, unquote. Getting 97 likes. Mike Gee says, quote, DeSantis rocked the opening statement. Hashtag with DeSantis, getting 80 likes. Carl Nelson says, where is the orange chicken? And it looks like a picture of Trump photoshopped his head onto a chicken, which that got 98 likes. All right. Burt Macklin says, great message, unquote, getting 36 likes. Glad to see Chris Pine has some good spare time in his hands. It's a Hollywood joke, because that's from a TV show. Nevertheless. Let's see here. Proud Elephant says, great answer, getting 34 likes. Lucy, Fight for Trump, she says, quote, 3-inch heels, unquote, getting 32 likes. Sinner and Saint said, quote, dude, this is pathetic, unquote, getting 13 likes. Robert Kenyon saying, quote, meh, time to drop out, getting 57 likes. L. Capper says, LOL, how are those 3-inch heels, getting 55 likes. Average Joe Thinks says, quote, keep attacking Trump knowing that the vast majority of the Republican base wants him and see how it works out for your career, unquote. Got 47 likes. And yes, that is a good point. Many people in the Republican Party who voted for Trump, they like him. So if you're attacking Trump, they're going to see it as a personal attack on themselves as many individuals. I don't think it's the right thing to do, but they do identify themselves with the politicians they represent. Let's see here. Renee Girdley says, quote, do drop out. This looks as bad. Look again. Hashtag Bootgate getting 66 likes. A lot of people getting between 0 and 10 likes, calling him a backstabber, Ron, and just saying how it's not his time. A lot of them saying go endorse Trump. So I'd say slightly, a little bit more negative than usual in terms of the feedback for his first clip. But let's jump to the second. Now this is him talking about the fentanyl crisis, and he says before the video, quote, if someone in the drug cartel is sneaking fentanyl across the border when I'm president, it's going to be the last thing they do. We're going to shoot them stone cold dead, unquote. And this got 240,000 views, and again, about the same amount of likes, 5.2 thousand on his personal Twitter account. Or, again, as 12 people call it, the X account.
Well, first, I was speaking to a dad who lost a son to fentanyl overdose. Son wasn't a drug addict. He had taken some pill that happened to be laced with fentanyl, and it was a fatal overdose. And when he told me, obviously the pain of losing a child is as bad as it gets, but he said what was salt in the wounds is that these elites in D.C. don't give a damn about what's going on in this country. They don't care that we have tens of thousands of opioid deaths, that the fentanyl's pouring in. They are not taking the type of action we need to. We're declaring it a national emergency on day one. I'm sending U.S. military to the border. I'm going to stop the invasion cold. I am going to deport people who came illegally. And I'm even going to build the border wall and have Mexico pay for it like Donald Trump promised. How are you going to do it? Yeah, Mexico's not going to fork over money. We're going to impose fees on the remittances that foreign workers send to foreign countries. We'll raise billions of dollars. I'll build a wall. But we are going to designate the cartels to be foreign terrorist organizations or something similar to that. And we're going to authorize the use of deadly force. We're going to have maritime operations to interdict precursor chemicals going into Mexico. But I'll tell you this, if someone in the drug cartels is sneaking fentanyl across the border when I'm president, that's going to be the last thing they do. We're going to shoot them stone cold dead.
It's perhaps one of the most aggressive...
Well, first, I was speaking to...
I don't know why Twitter likes to have that feature or a bug. I would say it's a bug where the video kind of just really quickly repeats itself if you hover over it again, annoyingly enough. But also, I think Trump had this idea a couple years ago, and again, I don't know how original idea it is. I'm sure someone before Trump thought of it as well. He was saying you should have the death penalty for every drug distributor, specifically, which I think one could argue would decrease the amount of drugs that are being distributed in the United States. You're never going to get down to zero. I think the goal is to get as little as possible if you're in favor of drug enforcement, unless you're a libertarian. But I think when it comes to these types of situations where it's being laced in all these products and people aren't aware of it, and more people are dying, that's where a lot of the concern is coming from. Now, just on its face, I would think, from that statement, given the Republican Party, I think that'd be pretty positively received, and most accounts would be supportive of DeSantis. Let's dive in and find out. So again, that got a little under 250,000 views on his personal Twitter. One of the first responses comes from Alexander C. Says, quote, premeditated murder, you're on the record for planning to murder people without due process, unquote. Got 108 likes. Someone by the name of Michael Thomas says, quote, pretty sure our justice system calls for apprehension, charges, and conviction. Executions before trial is so Republican, though, unquote, getting 141 likes. Red Wave Press says, quote, DeSantis would secure our southern border day one. Follow if you agree, unquote, getting 37 likes. Although, I don't know about that, because that's, people have been saying that for decades. Nevertheless, someone by the name of Merlot Burlot says, quote, that's your idea of due process? You've gone from JAG officer to JAG off, unquote, getting 42 likes. Let's see. Hugh Higgins says, quote, this is pretty creepy and definitely not Christian, unquote, getting 43 likes. Someone named Sheik Evans says, quote, Governor Newsom owns DeSantis. He has achieved more in one term than Trump or DeSantis combined, unquote. Getting 15 likes. Which, technically, I would agree, although, based on how you say what they've achieved, Newsom's achieved a lot, but it's all negative. Just look at businesses alone. They're leaving in droves. They're even net loss of people leaving the state. which again is almost impossible with a state that has perfect weather. Like, before the human death kit and feces just ruined San Francisco, and before you had more drugs and more needles on the ground than you can possibly walk around or avoid, it used to be a beautiful city. But their culture and policies have decayed so much, businesses are leaving in droves, especially San Francisco. I mean, his policies are not beneficial for the people who live there or the businesses there. That's why people are leaving. So I agree with the statement that Newsom has had a huge impact on the state. I just would argue it's not a positive impact. It is a great impact, nevertheless. Let's see here. Adam N says, quote, attack stream, but I like where it's coming from. Stopping drugs is good. Killing on the spot, too much. Unquote, getting 26 likes. Truth Matters says, quote, I find it difficult to articulate just how stupid this statement is. So explain it to me, Rhonda. How do you support them? Do you wear cartel member badges? Do you shoot first and ask questions later? Or do you arrest them and work out if they're in the cartel as judge, jury, and then executioner? Shoot them? Much as you like to shoot random sneakers, Stone Cold Dead, I know it sounds a bit Rhonda, but the cult might start doing it for sport. Presidential, are you having a laugh? Laugh out loud. Person got 86 likes for that specific statement. Who is John Galt? Says, quote, due process under the law, unquote, getting 18 likes. AJ USA says, quote, I've never seen an immigrant Republican as bad as you, unquote, getting 29 likes. Jeff Holstersem says, quote, how do you know they have fentanyl before shooting them? If they are armed, it's an invasion and deadly force should probably be used then. If they aren't armed, arrest them, charge them, and deport them, unquote, getting 11 likes. Let's see. Linda from Texas says, quote, 95% of Americans smuggling the drugs just visit ports of entry and take aim, unquote, getting 43%. So it looks like, interestingly enough, not a lot of support for DeSantis in this regard. And we want to say, when it comes to the comments section, usually between 40 and 70% are positive. Maybe 40 and 60%. But in this case, it really quite backfired. I thought there'd be more support from his base. But nevertheless, let's go on to the third highlight from DeSantis. And this is the one where he says, quote, I sent planes over to Israel and I brought back over 700 people to safety. There's a difference between words and deeds. We acted and we saved lives.
Bibi, finish the job once and for all with these butchers, Hamas. They're terrorists. They're massacring innocent people. They would wipe every Jew off the globe if they could. He cannot live with that threat right by his country. That Hamas should release every hostage and they should unconditionally surrender. I'm sick of hearing the media, I'm sick of hearing other people blame Israel just for defending itself. We will stand with Israel in word and in deed, in public and in private. And I can tell you, as governor, I actually did something about it. Biden's neglect has been atrocious. We had Floridians that were over there after the attack. He left them stranded. They couldn't get flights out. So I scrambled resources in Florida. I sent planes over to Israel, and I brought back over 700 people to safety. There could have been more hostages had we not acted. And I'll tell you this, I met the first plane load when they came to Florida, and one of the mothers pointed to a 6-year-old daughter, and she said, my daughter had been saying the last 2 nights, Mommy, I don't want to hear any more bombs, no more rockets. I just want to get back to Florida. So there's a difference between words and deeds. We acted and we saved lives. Thank you.
So that, interesting enough, so that got 188,000 views and 5.7 thousand likes. Now going to the comics section, one of the very first and the most popular one I can see thus far is from Lee Eggerly saying, quote, you're lying again, you didn't send them, Project Dynamo did. You're embellishing the facts like you embellished your military career. You don't have the character to lead this country, unquote. Getting 262 likes. Someone by the name of the JL Podcast says, quote, correction, you did not send those planes, unquote, getting 103 likes. Trey Hewitt says, quote, "You hijacked the amazing work the veterans of Project Dynamo were already doing, flying Americans home from Israel, and fleeced Florida taxpayers in order to buy yourself a political theater publicity stunt, hoping someone might praise you and help salvage your pathetic campaign," unquote. 188 likes. D. Blonde says, quote, "No, hashtag Corey Mills Florida brought home stranded Americans," unquote, getting 32 likes. Mary Towlin says, quote, "You're action-oriented, proved yourself during the pandemic," unquote, getting 81 likes. So a couple of positive ones are starting to come through. I am tired of it says, quote, "With my money and I still don't have a new roof from Hurricane Ian. He abandoned Floridians. He'll abandon America," unquote, getting 66 likes. Gaze for Trump says, quote, "We need this fact-checked," unquote, getting 35 likes. Veritas X Lux says, quote, "He's taking credit for another man's deeds. What a loser," unquote, getting 73 likes. Will Bill NC says, quote, "The primary is over. It's ridiculous to even pretend otherwise," getting 40 likes. So it looks like an overwhelming majority. No, Vanessa did say, "That is awesome. You did good, sir. Thank you," unquote. Got 2 likes. So overwhelming majority of the comments were viscerally against Ron DeSantis, especially for that particular point. Now, interestingly enough, I mean, again, not everyone is on social media. This is not, I don't know how really this correlates to actual polls and actual voting. So it'll be interesting to see how this debate helps or hurts in the polls. But his answers and the questions seemed a little bit better than the last debate. But again, they really didn't seem like enough to increase him in the polls. I think it might just kind of bottom out or stay steady. Which again, if he does stay steady, as well as the other candidates, he could get the nominee only if Trump is barred from running. That's the only conceivable way he can get it with all the data we have right now of all these polls saying Trump is ahead by 30, 40, 50 points from Ron. So let me know in the comments, do you think this debate was an overall net benefit for Ron or overall negative? Be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments section because I do want to make the show better and better and better. Also, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.